Atlanta just saw one of the most intense nights in its club scene, and it's all anyone can talk about. Picture this. You walk into a packed nightclub thinking it's going to be a fun night out, but within minutes, you're standing in the middle of a scene straight out of the most chaotic love and hip-hop episode ever. That's exactly what happened when Bambi, still dealing with the heartbreak of her split from Lil Scrappy, suddenly came face-to-face with Scrappy's brand new girlfriend. What began as a few icy looks and whispered comments quickly spiraled into full-blown mayhem, yelling, drinks spilling, bottles flying, and security rushing in. By the end of it, Bambi was leaving the club bruised, shaken, and embarrassed in front of everyone. And the worst part? Cameras caught the entire thing. The footage leaked online almost instantly, and social media hasn't stopped tearing it apart. Some people are saying Bambi asked for the drama. Others believe Scrappy's new girl crossed the line. No matter whose side you're on, one thing's clear. This love triangle just turned into a public war. Fans are stunned, and the comments online range from insults to heated debates about who's actually at fault. But the bigger question is, how did things get so bad? Was Bambi provoked? Did Scrappy's new girlfriend plan to push her buttons? Or is this just the start of something much messier that could rock Atlanta's reality TV scene? Atlanta nightlife is no stranger to celebrity drama, but what happened over the weekend shocked even people who have seen it all. Bambi, who once had a reputation for keeping her cool and holding her own, found herself in the middle of a violent scene that not only left her physically hurt, but also dragged her name through gossip blogs within hours. This wasn't just two strangers having an argument. This was Bambi coming face to face with the woman who has taken her place in Scrappy's life. To really understand why this blew up so quickly, you have to look back at the history between Bambi and Scrappy. Their relationship was fiery from the start, passionate at times, but filled with drama, betrayals, and arguments that often played out on camera. They shared love, kids, and more than a few public blow-ups. When their marriage started falling apart, it wasn't a shock to fans, but many still hoped they might work things out. Instead, Scrappy moved on and introduced a new girlfriend into the picture. For Bambi, who had been through years of public embarrassment in that relationship, seeing him flaunt someone new so soon after the breakup must have felt like a deep cut. Sources say she tried to keep her emotions in check when the cameras weren't rolling. But behind the scenes, the frustration was real. So when she walked into that Atlanta nightclub and saw Scrappy's new girl acting like she owned the place, it was already a recipe for trouble. Witnesses say the energy in the room changed the second Bambi arrived. Scrappy's girlfriend, confident and clearly aware of who was watching, allegedly started throwing shade. Not with words at first, but with smirks, stares, and body language that made her intentions obvious. Bambi, already on edge, wasn't about to let it slide. At first, it was just words. People nearby say they exchanged heated comments near the VIP area. The music was blasting, drinks were flowing, but anyone close enough could feel the tension. Bambi supposedly accused the new girlfriend of being nothing more than her replacement, while Scrappy's girl allegedly fired back, mocking her failed marriage and calling her washed up. Security tried to step in early, but it didn't work. The argument escalated into shoving, and before anyone could react, it turned physical. In seconds, drinks were spilled, tables overturned, and the crowd scattered while security fought to pull them apart. Several people caught the whole thing on their phones, and by the time the sun came up, the clips were everywhere. In the footage, you can see Bambi being dragged across the floor, her hair being pulled while security desperately tries to separate them. It spread online in minutes and went viral overnight. Suddenly, Bambi wasn't trending for her style or her TV appearances. She was trending for getting humiliated in a nightclub. The internet's reaction was harsh. Memes popped up almost immediately making fun of her. Twitter threads broke down every moment of the video, with some fans cheering for Scrappy's new girlfriend and others defending Bambi. Still, the majority painted her as the one who lost. The fight, not just physically, but in terms of dignity. One comment that blew up read, "Bambi had years to lock down her place. Now she's fighting in clubs over Scrappy like a teenager. Embarrassing." Another said, "She should have just walked away with dignity instead of letting the whole club see her like that." But it wasn't all criticism. Plenty of people sided with Bambi, saying her reaction was understandable after everything she's been through. They argued that seeing your ex with someone new, especially someone acting smug, could push anyone over the edge. One person wrote, "Don't pretend you wouldn't react if your ex brought their new boo to your spot and they were throwing shade all night." For those who know her history, this fight wasn't just about two women in a club. It was about years of unresolved pain. Bambi stood by Scrappy through drama with his family, cheating rumors, and constant stress. Now she's watching him create a new life with someone else while her own heartbreak plays out for the world to see. Scrappy's part in this can't be ignored. Even though he wasn't physically involved in the fight, people close to him say he knows exactly how much drama his new relationship is stirring up. Some think he secretly likes the attention since it keeps his name in the headlines, while others believe he's stuck between wanting to move forward and still having emotional ties to Bambi because of their kids. The truth is, what happened that night wasn't just about pulling hair and throwing punches. It was about pride, heartbreak, and the pain of watching someone you loved replace you so publicly. And now, the fight's aftermath is raising more questions than answers. Can Bambi bounce back from the public embarrassment? Will Scrappy's girlfriend stick around? Or is she just another short chapter in his long history of messy relationships? Most importantly, is this fight just the start of an even bigger feud that could spill over into TV drama, family arguments, and even more chaos in Atlanta? One thing's for sure. This was more than a nightclub fight. It was the first round, in a battle that's nowhere near finished. And for Bambi, this is just the start of what might be her toughest fight yet. If anyone thought the drama ended when security pulled the two women apart, they were wrong. In many ways, that night was only the start. The second those videos hit social media, the damage was already done. Bambi, once seen as unshakable, was suddenly trending for all the wrong reasons. What might have been brushed off as just another heated club altercation instantly became a viral moment that she couldn't escape, no matter how hard she tried. And for Bambi, the emotional hit was brutal. People close to her say she broke down as soon as she left the club, furious at Scrappy's new girlfriend but just as angry at herself. "I let her bait me. I let her win," she reportedly told friends. For someone who had built her image on being calm under pressure, that admission cut deep. That night, she wasn't the composed woman people were used to seeing. She was caught off guard, pulled into chaos, and left watching her pride shatter in front of millions. The internet wasn't kind. Memes popped up of her being dragged across the floor, complete with mocking captions and sound effects. TikTok creators started reenacting the fight in over-the-top parodies, racking up millions of views. Even gossip sites that used to praise her for handling herself well were now running headlines about her fall from grace. One blog went as far as calling her night in the club a shift from queen to clown. The sting was worse because Bambi had always tried to rise above petty drama. On Love and Hip Hop, she built her brand as someone who refused to be disrespected. But to the public, one violent night had erased years of that image. Meanwhile, Scrappy's new girlfriend seemed to enjoy the attention. The very next morning, she posted cryptic Instagram stories with captions like, "Don't play with me," and "I said what I said." Fans didn't need much to connect the dots. They took those posts as direct shots at Bambi. Whether she meant it that way or not, it only made things worse, adding more fuel to an already raging fire. Scrappy, on the other hand, stayed quiet at first. That silence only made people speculate even more. Was he secretly backing his new girlfriend? Was he worried about Bambi, the mother of his children? Or was he trying to avoid picking sides altogether? To many fans, his lack of a statement looked like he didn't care. He started this whole mess and now he's acting like it's not his problem, one person tweeted. Behind the scenes, things were more complicated. People close to Scrappy say he was conflicted. On one side, he didn't want to leave his new girlfriend hanging, especially when she was clearly feeling like she'd won the fight. On the other side, he knew Bambi's public humiliation wasn't just about her. It was about their kids too, who would eventually hear about it. The longer he stayed silent, the more pressure built for him to say something. But by this point, the fight had shifted from being just about two women clashing in a nightclub to something much bigger. It had become a public debate over Bambi's entire legacy on Love and Hip Hop. Was she really the composed, mature figure she'd always claimed to be? Or was this proof she could be just as messy as anyone else? The fan base split in half. Some defended her, saying anyone in her situation would have reacted the same way. They reminded people of the years she spent putting up with disrespect in her marriage to Scrappy. Rumors of cheating, constant tension with his family, endless questions about his loyalty. To them, seeing his new girlfriend flaunting herself in Bambi's face was the final straw. "She's human. Y'all act like she's supposed to be a robot," one supporter posted. Others weren't buying it. They saw the fight as desperation, a way to hang on to the spotlight she'd lost. "She's not on the show anymore. She's not with Scrappy anymore. This is all she's got left to stay relevant," critics said. To them, the incident wasn't just a bad look. It was the end of her time as a respected name in the reality TV world. Adding to the fire, old clips of Bambi started resurfacing. In them, she was seen calling out other women for fighting over men and swearing she would never stoop to that level. Fans reposted those moments alongside the club fight footage, labeling her a hypocrite. The narrative was slipping further and further out of her control. Sources say she's now weighing her next move. Some claim she's thinking about doing a tell-all interview to reclaim her side of the story. Others say she's planning to disappear from the spotlight until the noise dies down. Either way, the stain on her reputation is there. No matter what she does, people will remember the night she was dragged across that floor. And while Bambi's been dealing with the embarrassment, Scrappy's new girlfriend has been thriving. Her followers jumped by the thousands overnight, with people either rooting for her or watching just to keep up with the mess. Some are already speculating she might be cast in the next season of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. If that happens, Bambi's nightmare could get even worse. Not only would she have lost Scrappy, but the woman who humiliated her could end up taking her spot in the limelight she once dominated. That leaves the biggest question hanging over all of this. What about Scrappy? His silence can't last forever. At some point, he'll have to pick a side. If he speaks up for Bambi, he risks straining his new relationship. If he sides with his girlfriend, the backlash for turning his back on the mother of his kids will be fierce. Either way, someone's going to be unhappy, and the public is waiting to see what he does. For now, uncertainty is the only thing that's certain. The fight is still replaying nonstop on phones, blogs, and YouTube channels. People in Atlanta are talking about it like it's the biggest scandal of the year. And everyone knows, one fight in this world is never the end. It's just the first round in a much bigger war. For someone known for speaking his mind, Scrappy's silence was deafening. When he finally broke it, it wasn't with a statement or TV confession. It was a cryptic Instagram post, a black and white photo of him staring off into the distance, captioned with 3 words. It's up now. That was all it took to send the internet into overdrive. Fans dissected it like a code. Was he standing with his new girlfriend? Was it a jab at Bambi? Or was he just stirring the pot to keep his name trending? Whatever the intention, it worked. The post went viral, dragging the fight back into the spotlight. Behind the scenes, things were far from simple. Sources say Scrappy was under heavy pressure from family, especially his outspoken mother, Mama D. Depending on who you believe, she was either furious at the disrespect toward Bambi or fully backing her son's new relationship. Mama D's stance mattered. Her approval or disapproval could instantly shift public opinion. For Bambi, who had clashed with her more than once during her marriage, that uncertainty was its own kind of stress. While family tension brewed, the industry was buzzing. Club promoters were suddenly hesitant to book Bambi, worried her name carried too much baggage. Gossip blogs wondered if VH1 would turn the feud into TV gold. Some insiders claimed producers were already pushing for a sit-down between Bambi, Scrappy, and the new girlfriend, a guaranteed ratings hit if it happened. Bambi, meanwhile, was still processing the humiliation. Friends say she swung between anger at the blatant disrespect and regret for letting herself get dragged into it. Literally, she knew the footage would follow her forever, but she also wasn't the type to stay down. Rumors suggested she was already working on a comeback, from new business projects to possibly returning to television on her own terms. Scrappy's new girlfriend was having a different experience altogether. In less than a week, her followers doubled, and her name trended alongside his. Some accused her of picking the fight just to gain attention, while others argued she was simply defending herself. Whatever the truth, she came out of it with a bigger platform and more attention than ever. The love triangle had officially turned into a full-blown reality TV plotline in the making. Fans were already calling for a reunion special, hoping to see Bambi and the new girlfriend face off on camera with Scrappy stuck in the middle. For VH1, it would be ratings gold, betrayal, heartbreak, violence, and public humiliation, all wrapped into one storyline. But beneath the drama, there was a bigger issue. For years, Bambi and Scrappy were one of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta's central couples. Viewers had seen their highs and lows, falling in love, getting married, having kids, surviving scandals. Now, all of that risked being overshadowed by one viral fight. Instead of being remembered for their journey, they could end up remembered for their downfall. Scrappy's vague posts only made things worse. To many, it looked like he was dodging responsibility, letting the women in his life go to war while he sat back and watched. Some fans accused him of intentionally pitting them against each other for attention. Whether or not that was true, the perception was damaging. Weeks passed, and the scandal didn't fade. It grew. Social media, gossip, blogs, and hip-hop podcasts kept dissecting every move. This wasn't just a messy breakup story anymore. It had become a cultural moment, sparking conversations about pride, public image, and the emotional cost of toxic relationships. For Bambi, the road forward would be about rebuilding. She had to prove she was more than the woman in that viral clip. For Scrappy's new girlfriend, the challenge was whether she could turn viral fame into something lasting. And for Scrappy, the challenge was accountability, deciding if he wanted to be remembered as the man who fed the drama or the one who put an end to it. One thing was clear. The fight was over, but the war was just beginning. Every post, every appearance, every whispered rumor was going to be picked apart by millions. And in the world of Atlanta nightlife, hip-hop, and reality TV, humiliation isn't the end. It's often just the start of the next chapter.